Now, Congo didn't lose the game against Colombia because they cannot defend. They lost it because they did not have enough quality in attack and in the final third, where the real difference makers are made at this World Cup. Now, stay tuned for this tactical breakdown, and I'm going to show you the 3 key moments and the 3 points as to the reason why Congo never beat Colombia. Now, stay tuned for the third one if you really want to find out where the real problem is. These are the 3 main points that I want to take away from this game in regards to Congo. The first is the defense. The second is the midfield. And the third is the final third. And this point is going to be very interesting. Now, must I say I'm disappointed? Of course I'm disappointed to lose to Colombia. It's not losing that's the problem. It's how you lose. And it's sad because in tournaments, we've seen how Congo have lost. And a lot of the times it's 1-0. Remember, 2 years ago, African Cup of Nations against Ivory Coast in the semi-finals, they lost 1-0. Not scoring, not posing enough of an attacking threat. We saw recently in January against Algeria, they go through to the next phase of the African Cup of Nations. They lose in the last minute of extra time. Algeria score 1-0. And then yesterday, another defeat in the tournament. Another 1-0 defeat. But I guess it didn't tell the full story. It's frustrating. Honestly, it's frustrating because you don't actually see the team progress from one end to another end. And by that, I mean the losses that they suffer always seem to mimic each other. They always seem to mirror each other. Like the coach has to do better. You have to be a bit more brave. You're losing already. The scoreline's not going to change. You have to offer more in the game. You have to, as a coach, offer a tactical solution. You've got to sit down, look at your squad, look at the team you're playing, and say, how can we get a goal? Because it's just a goal. Let's just say they're playing for a draw, not to lose. It's just a goal you're going for. But we don't see organization in them trying to get that goal. We see them just throwing everything. Crossing the ball, throw-ins. It's like you're waiting for something to happen. And for me, it is not good enough. Let's focus on the defense. Now, they've come into this tournament having played Portugal with a 5-3-2 formation. Now, playing Portugal and playing Colombia are 2 different things. That's why I was quite surprised that the manager still kept Capwadi centre-back in against Colombia. And I will explain to you the reason why. Now, the base, the foundation of this team is their solid spine. The defense, you got Mpasi, Mbemba, Tonzebe, Mutusami. Obviously, in times past, you had Charles Picker, but of course, you have Kayembe and you have Mukau. That is how they built this tournament. Now, my main concern is not necessarily the defense. I feel like they covered the defense really, really well. Yesterday, however, the defense was a bit undone in the first 20 minutes. I will explain to you why. What was happening in this game for Congo is that you've got a flat back 5. Bear in mind, you've got 2 wing backs who are not wing backs. They are full backs, Masuaku and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, if you didn't know, I'll teach you. A wing back is a specialized position. And by that, I mean, you're not just asked to defend and attack. You're asked to time your attacks. You're also asked to be the outlet in attack, meaning that whenever your team has the ball, you push really high because you are the extra man. So you go from a back 5, as you can see here, into a back 3. So you've actually added either in midfield. So you've gone from the back 5 there. So you've outnumbered your opposition potentially. And then you've added to the line of midfield. As you can see, there's 3 in there. So now you've got 5 in the midfield. Or you've added now to the attack when they've got 2 attackers, depending on how you play it. Some teams obviously might have 3 in there like this. So of course you've got 5 again, depending on if the midfield joins. If he doesn't decide to join, then you've got 4. But it's always about outnumbering your opposition. That is the key. So in this instance, you're basically trying to make up the numbers in wide areas. A lot of teams say numerical advantages are normally made in central zones, especially with the best teams that we see, like PSG, Barcelona. They try and always have numerical advantages. Pep Guardiola was a master at it, and that's normally in a central zone. But however, when you play with the wing backs like Antonio Conte, Ruben Amorim tried but failed at Manchester United, is always having the extra man in the wide areas. We saw Simone Inzaghi for Inter Milan, another expert at doing this. Now, bear in mind, these two are not wing backs, and you can see it with how they play. When they started this formation, Congo had a chance very early on. I think Kayambe had a shot, actually missed it, target. And after then, what happened is these wing backs dropped really deep into a flat back five. So what this did is, the key man, and I always say the key man, is Munoz. Because Munoz always attacks the fullbacks. And he has the ability to be a wing back because he plays there for Crystal Palace a lot of the time. And even when he plays right back, he has got the legs to go up and down. So one thing that happened is, in build-up, let's say they have the ball at the back right there. Munoz has the ball, picks it up. This is where you're seeing Masuaku. What actually has to happen? If you're playing with the wing backs, I will show you guys. You have to play a bit more aggressively, which is again why it's a specialized position. So in this situation, what you need is Masuaku. If he picks the ball, you have to be right here. If the goalkeeper has the ball, the goalkeeper there with the ball, he has to be there. Wan-Bissaka, the same thing. And these three have to be brave enough to do this. That is, if you want to play on the front foot and you really want to control your opposition with the ball, like I showed you, being the extra man, and without the ball, this always offers you a solution. And that's where people get it wrong when they try and play this formation. Sometimes they try and play like a flat back five. And this is exactly what happened with Congo. And now, because that happened, he didn't have too much pressure. What you saw was he would tuck in. James Rodriguez, very smart. Puerta, of course, playing in this role. You've got Jefferson Lerma and Arias. Again, a dynamic three in the middle, which we've seen a lot in this tournament. I spoke about USA. I spoke about people mimicking PSG with that hybrid, formation of three in the middle that kind of just play, interchange. You can go there, I can go there. Everybody just kind of interchanging with each other. And then James Rodriguez is smart. So he will tuck in or he will drop in here. So of course, Capuadi will go across. You've got Luis Suarez, and then you've got Munoz making that run in there. So sometimes what would happen is, because he's gone in there, Capuadi might have to watch him, or one of the midfielders might make that run in there. You've got an extra man. Now he has to watch out for him. He's focused on either James Rodriguez or he's focused on Munoz. A lot of the time, he might tuck in there thinking, okay, James Rodriguez, he's thinking, oh, I've got to watch Puerta if he makes that run. And then you've got Munoz making that run into there. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly why Congo got pegged back. Again, like I said, James is very smart. So he would drop in there. He would have to follow in, and then there would be space in there. That's exactly what happened. The same areas you found Munoz in when he scored. Something that caused Congo a lot of problems very, very early on. And I spoke about this in the Portugal game. I think that what they did well, Colombia, is they occupied the centre backs and they made them come out of the position. Those dynamic three in the midfield had the three of Congo always finding it difficult. And obviously, when you win the ball in this position, what do you have? You have all your flat back five there, your wing backs are there, and you've only got two outlets. So it makes that pass into there very difficult, that pass into there very difficult, and it annihilated a lot of Congo's attacks. And this is where Congo's weakness was. And I want to point out now the midfield. I think now with the manager, what he should have done in this midfield three is, of course, you've got those three in the middle and they're very aggressive. But one thing is, if you get in behind that midfield, you're basically attacking Colombia. They didn't do that. But what I would have done is, of course, you've got Mutusami and you've got Mukau and you've got Kayembe. What I would have done is, sometimes what you have to do is put these two in the middle there. So you've got the three at the back, of course, yeah? And those are occupied. Put the two, Mukau, and you've got Mutusami. And now you push him up there, because now, even if he decides to press, if they decide to say, okay, let's go in there, let's go tight there, let's press, he has to think about him. And remember, Munoz is always high, so you're always going to be able to catch him. So even if he's in this position, Kayembe is giving him a situation where either he has to follow him in there, or he's in behind him and you're attacking 3 against 3. Congo failed to do that. And it's not necessarily because they didn't have the quality on the ball. I felt like Mukau is a player that is good on the ball. Can he always pick out the right passes? No. He's not I wouldn't say a ball retention master. I wouldn't say he's a controller, a tempo setter. Neither is Kayembe and neither is Mutusami, who plays safe passes way too much. So line breaking passes are not played enough. So they rely on Wisa to carry the ball from these positions over here. And that is where Congo are lacking in the midfield. That's the kind of midfielder that they need. But again, this is just a tactical tweak, because if you did this, either he comes in here and if he follows him in there, and let's just say his goal side, what does that do? That gives a big space in their pressing. So you only got the 2 against 2 in there. You got 2 strikers. Wisa, one can drop in there if he wants to pick up the ball, is more comfortable. And if he drops in there, then you've got Bakambu making that run in behind there. And again, this allows Congo some kind of outlet, some breathing space in that midfield, something that wasn't tweaked. But again, when you're playing with the wing backs, again, you need these guys to be up here. And it started to happen sometimes, but not regularly enough, because that will force them back. And again, it allows space for Congo. I don't even want to create patterns of play with this formation, because I thought if back 4 probably would have been better. I think, again, with Congo, this is the point I wanted to maximize on. And I wanted you guys to kind of understand where I'm going. This final point is the most important part of this video. It is the final third. We've spoken about Cedric Bakambu. We've spoken about Yohan Wissa. And Yohan Wissa, good player. Very, very good player. But he can't do it all by himself. Cedric Bakambu, you cannot rely on him to be the guy to, if you have one chance, to score. We saw that against Portugal. Congo, in the final third, a lot of the time with the midfielders, not always, they don't make the right decision. Masuaku's strengths, crossing. Wan-Bissaka doesn't have attacking strengths. So playing wing backs doesn't really help him. We know that they have Elia, who hasn't played in this tournament yet, but his speed offers Congo something different. And Bongonda, again, he can carry the ball from these areas over here. And that also adds another dimension to the attack. But even with him, doesn't always make the right decisions. This calls for an upgrade. An upgrade in a sense where Congo might have to start looking at a few younger players all around Europe, I guess. They might have to also start playing with a system, because I feel like Congo play almost off the cuff. By that I mean, I don't see structured patterns of play. When they're trying to chase a goal, as we saw yesterday, they just go all guns blazing, cross it, free kicks, get into the box. It's not really patterns of play. And I think that is the next level. What the manager has done with his team now is maybe enough. If he's not going to adapt, they can get somebody else new in and build on this team. Certain players like Cedric Bakambu, I think time's up after this World Cup. And I think a lot of people know Elia may be the same. A lot of players have been there for way too long. They need a good rebuild. They need quality in there. And quality doesn't always come from experience, as you can see from this tournament. But decision making, and it's not just with Congo, with a lot of African teams in the final third. And it's not because the players are not good either. They seem to get to the national team and everybody wants to do their own thing. We saw what happened with Bakambu against Portugal. It was 3 against 2 and he decided to shoot from like 30 yards out. Those are things that when you play at your clubs, you do not do. But everybody wants to play hero ball. And I'm so disappointed because I see it with so many different teams. I think the only team I've not seen it with is Morocco. Cabo Verde, they attack relentlessly. So you might not see as much. But again, the quality in the final third, always lacking. Hence why they don't necessarily dominate or do so well at World Cup events. I saw it against Senegal against Norway. Norway with Haaland. Haaland is the main man. Find Haaland, go. Keep it as simple as that. Don't even try and overcomplicate the game. And that's where I express my disappointment with Congo here. I think they should have done better in this game. I think they could have attacked more. Let's see against Uzbekistan. The onus is going to be on Congo to do more. And then we'll have to take a deep dive into what's happening with this team. They can still qualify. Let me know your thoughts. Kupola, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share. I'll see you soon. Congo, we're still here.